Now, what is an Power Center Express 9.6.1? The PC Express 9.6.1 is the latest version from the Informatica for as an ETL tool. It is mainly used to design and implement the integrated data from the different sources and transform it into the required database. In Informatica 9.6.1, we can access the data from the relational database, the flat files, web services, and the important things that in this version we can extract the data from the social media websites also. The social media websites such as we can extract from Twitter, LinkedIn. So all these are the social media websites. From there we can extract the data and load the data using the PC Express 9.6.1. In this versions we can process the data, we can massage the data, and we can store the data in a required format, and whatever conversion we do it, we can monitor it by using the administrator tool also. So example of a Power Center Express 9.6.1. Suppose we have a two company 1, and we have the another company 2. Okay, now company 1 acquires the company 1. The company 1 acquires the company 2. So we have to merge the data of both the company. So in the final we want the company 1 plus company 2. So this is my required data which I want. But company 1 has a data in an SQL developer, and the company 2 has the data in Oracle. So it will be not an easy task to merge the two databases and then make it into a single database. So at that particular time we use the ETL tool, that is PC Express 9.6.1, where we will define certain standards, define rules for data, so that when we are taking the data from the company 1 and company 2 and we are merging, we apply these rules, so we get a particular set of data with a specific specification which has been defined, and then we can load it into the final database, that is company 3, in which we have the combination of data company 1 and the company 2. So mainly for this purposes we use the ETL tool or the PC Express 9.6.1. Now let's see an architecture. As we see an architecture, the PC Express architecture is divided into the three parts. One is a application client, one is application services, and one is repositories. So the application client is what people can see. It's an interface where all the developers or the customer interface. So application client is something which is visible to client, developer, which is actually the place where everyone can see our application. So application client is consist of two parts, that is one is Informatica developer and one is Informatica administrator. Developer, as I have mentioned, where we do all the data massaging, and the administrator part is something where we have to observe the certain task and everything. So for that purpose we use the Informatica administrator. The second layer is application services. Application services is something which is not visible, but this is the service which is running in the backend, to support your application client to your server and everything. So everything is connected because of the application services. So if the application services is down, you cannot, our application client will not work, or our application servers will also not work. So the linkage between the client and the server, we use the application services. So we have the two application services. One is model repository service and one is data integration service. Model repository service is something, the service which is associated with our repository. Our name of our repository is model. So this is repository service where we are storing all the metadata and everything. And the data integration service. The data integration service is something with which you are able to connect with the different types of database, different types of domains, and other things are connected because of the data integration service. And the third part which we have is the repositories. So we have the three types of repositories. One is model repository, one is profiling warehouse, and one is domain configuration repository. So the model repository, the third layer is repositories. The repositories is something where is a storage of metadata. So all the storages of the metadata and everything is done in the repository. So we have the three types of repository. One is model repository, one is profiling warehouse, and one is domain configuration repository. So the model repository is something where actual repository on which we are working, where our all the metadata and everything is stored, all our source metadata, target metadata, everything is stored in the model repository. Then we have the profiling warehouse. The profiling warehouse is something where we are doing the data profiling, where we are working on the profiling. The data has been profiled, the analysis of data has been done in the profiling warehouse. And the third one is the domain configuration repository. The domain configuration repository is something where when we are connecting through the LAN, where we have the server and the client, and we are connecting with one server, the different clients has been connected and all the configuration has been done. That is done using the domain configuration repository. So in the PCI Express architecture, it is divided into the three parts. The first is application client, which is actually visible to the clients, to the developer. Second is the application service, which is the services which are running in the backend and which is connecting your developer tool with the server. And the third is the repository. The repository is something where we are storing the metadata. It's our storage media for the profiling, and we have the configuration also for a domain configuration. We have the third repository, data configuration repository.